All right, coming in at the back post today is the World Cup predictions, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly as the World Cup starts in just a couple of days. We see Group A with Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Czech Republic. I know a lot of people are high on Mexico and a lot of people are very low on Czech Republic. I'm the opposite. I am very high on Czech Republic and very low on Mexico. So as a result, I'm going to have South Korea, Czech Republic, and then Mexico in third, even though they're the host nation. I just don't believe the hype with Mexico. I don't trust them. They don't have great goal scorers. I think they'll make it out of the group, but I don't think they're going to do anything. In Group B, I'll back Switzerland, and then I'll have Canada in second. And I don't think that one of Bosnia or Qatar will make it out of the group as one of the best third-place teams. Because I think a lot of people are underrating Qatar, thinking they're the same joke they were in 2022. In Group C, I'm going to give the Group C title to Morocco. I'll give Brazil second and Scotland in third, but I think Scotland will make it very difficult for Morocco and Brazil. I think this could be a group where you have the teams at like 6, 4, and 4 points respectively. And then Group D, I'll go Turkey at first, with Australia in second and the United States in third. I know the United States are also another host nation, but Australia do really well in tournaments, and Turkey, they're the strongest team in the group, and the United States are too inconsistent. They're too defensive. I don't believe that they can really do much in this group. In Group E, we have Germany, Curacao, the Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. I'll give Ivory Coast first. I'll have Ecuador in second and Germany in third. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but I just don't think Germany are a particularly strong side. I think they have a lot of weaknesses in their squad, and their reliance on older, aging talent is not exactly a good thing, and I think I'll catch up to them. And Ivory Coast have been in really good form going into the World Cup, and Ecuador have one of the stronger teams, have one of the most underrated teams, and a very good defense, and I think that'll be too much for Germany to overcome, because Germany, even their game breakers are not at their best, whereas Ivory Coast, their top talents are just starting to reach their top form, so that's why I'll give them first. In Group F, which is arguably the toughest group in my opinion, I would give the Netherlands first, but just barely. And I'll put Japan in second, and I think Tunisia or Sweden won't make it out because I don't think either of them are going to get a win. I think they're both going to draw, probably end on 2 points. And I don't think they're going to make it out. In Group G, I have Belgium running away with the group, and then Iran in second. And I don't know if Egypt will make it through. I'll give it to Egypt because I don't think New Zealand are any good at all. In Group H, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia. No explanation needed there. In Group I, we have France, Senegal, Norway. I think Senegal will beat Norway. And then in Group J, I believe it'll be Argentina and Algeria, and I don't think Austria will make it out of the group. In Group K, it'll be Portugal and Colombia. Congo and Uzbekistan will not make it out of the group. And then in Group L, we have England, we have Croatia, and we have Ghana. Into the round of 32, Ivory Coast and Scotland. Ivory Coast, give them a 3-1 win right there. France and the States. France will destroy the United States. I think Canada will beat Czech Republic on penalties. And I think the Dutch will have a very early exit in the round of 32 to Brazil. Morocco will lose to Japan because I think Morocco are not as good as they used to be. And I think that Ecuador will beat Senegal, so both of the AFCON winners will be eliminated. I believe that Saudi will shock South Korea and England will dispatch of Norway easily, and that Colombia will beat Croatia, or actually no, I'll give Croatia the win, even though this is one of Croatia's weaker teams. They're just so cohesive as a unit, I can't overlook them. And so Croatia will beat Colombia, and waiting for them in the next round will be Spain. I think Turkey will beat Germany, who are not very good, and Belgium will defeat Mexico. I believe Argentina will beat Uruguay, and Iran will beat Australia. And I think Switzerland will easily dispatch of Egypt, and Portugal will dominate Ghana. Into the next round, we have the Ivory Coast and France. I think it'll be tight, but France will just squeak through it, unlike the friendly they had last week. I think Canada will be defeated quite easily by Brazil. I believe Ecuador will continue on their Cinderella run, and Saudi's run will end at the round of 16 to England. Spain will defeat Croatia easily, and Turkey will defeat Belgium. I think that Argentina and Portugal will meet each other in the quarterfinal. The quarterfinal, France and Brazil, will be a tough match, but I'll back France, even though I kind of feel like Brazil will do better than a lot of people are thinking. I just don't see them beating France. And I think Ecuador is where the end of the line is for England in the quarterfinals. I know it's a rogue pick, but I really trust Ecuador's defense. And especially given how England have left some of their talents that could break through defensive lines, like Phil Foden, like Morgan Gibbs-White, like Cole Palmer. They're going to really miss that in a game against Ecuador, who is, in my opinion, the strongest defense in the tournament. And then Spain and Turkey. I think Spain's back line is going to hurt them, and they're going to lose in penalties to Turkey. And I think that Ronaldo's run will continue. In the semis, I think this is where the Cinderella runs end, and we get a rematch of 10 years ago, the 2016 Euro final of France and Portugal. A lot of things of this year and a lot of sports and a lot of things are very reminiscent of 2016. And I think that's why we have a repeat of 2016. France and Portugal meet in the final, and it won't go, and the winner in extra time will be scored by Samu Costa will score the winner as Portugal win the World Cup. I know that seems very rogue and very crazy, but trust me, I know, like, a lot of my picks are very questionable, like having Ecuador make it this far, or having Turkey make it this far. But I think a lot of what it comes down to in the World Cup, because of single elimination, is the cohesiveness as a unit and sticking to your strengths. And one of the biggest reasons why I see Ecuador making so far is because they know what they are. They don't try to be what they're not. And the same thing, and I think that's part of the reason why I think Germany is not that good. Because Germany are thinking they're the Germany of old. But they're not. They're not the powerhouse that they once used to be. They don't have the veteran talents that they used to have. They don't have the midfield that they used to have. Your midfield is what carries you through the tournament. They don't have that anymore. They have Joshua Kimmich. They have good players in their midfield, don't get me wrong. But it's nothing compared to what they used to have. And Brazil, also, Casemiro's old, and I watched him play almost every game for Man United this season. He has his moments where he looks great at set pieces, but in actual play, there are moments where he loses concentration, or he tries to attack too much, and that's going to hurt Brazil, as it did in their friendlies. And I think Portugal haven't looked great in their friendlies, but that they've only played one where Rafael Leao turned into Mike Tyson. But I think there's something to everybody playing for Ronaldo, and I don't think that should be lost on anybody. And so as a result, that's why I think that Portugal will beat France. I think France will have an amazing run. I think France will be dominating everybody they play against. But I think when you're playing for someone who you care about a lot, it changes things. All right, coming in at the back post today is the World Cup predictions.